Hey, it's your girl Nay coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nay, the podcast. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope that you're doing well, doing good. Down here in sunny Florida, it's sunny again. I know the last time I talked to you guys, we were preparing for a hurricane. Hurricane Ian came through, and y'all know I was talking about being a little relaxed about it, and it actually did a lot of damage. I don't think we were expecting it. We were joking and playing, and there was a lot of people that were drastically affected by that hurricane. And I want to kind of take back the jokes that I was making last week, because I couldn't imagine my house flooding, losing my car, just any of that. Like, the most that happened over my way was power and stuff, but it's like watching the news and just knowing the effects, like people down south. It was very heartbreaking, but here we are. Here we are. So I am joined by Miss K. Miss K. And I'm going to definitely let her introduce herself, let the people know who you are, and then we'll keep going from there.
Okay. Well, I am Miss K. For those of you that don't know me, I am a certified etiquette coach. I'm a personal seamstress. I make dresses, specialized dresses. But etiquette is my love, something I love to do, love to practice, love to teach. So I'm excited to be here tonight with you to share some good information on being late.
Yes, and we're definitely going to talk about it. Definitely going to talk about it. So shout out to Miss K. Thank you for coming through and having this conversation with me. I've been trying to get her on here for a little while now. We finally made it happen, so I am glad that we're able to get into it. But first, before all of that, what are we toasting to for the evening? I'm gonna let you tell me. And y'all get y'all glass and toast with us as well, and let me know what we're drinking to tonight.
I would like to drink to the future generation of ladies.
Yes,
the future.
To the future. I drink to that. All right. So then, let's get into the excuse me, come again questions. Now, for random questions, you do not get to prepare for. I'm gonna keep it ladylike. Okay. I'm gonna keep it ladylike, just a little bit. Just a little icebreaker, so we can get into it before we get into it. All right. So question number 1. Name a time when you felt like you weren't good enough.
Ooh, that's a good one. Middle school.
Okay.
Specifically 6th grade, when a lot of other girls were getting attention that I wasn't getting because I was a tomboy and did tomboy things and carried myself like one.
Nothing wrong with that. We're gonna talk about
middle school
too.
Pressure.
We're gonna talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, middle school. And question number 2. What is a deal breaker in a relationship for you? Like, no go, no coming back from this. No, we can't talk about it. It's done.
Aside from the obvious.
Well, what's obvious?
Lying, cheating.
Okay.
But a not so obvious deal breaker. A smoker.
Like anything or cigarettes?
Cigarettes.
Okay.
Specifically cigarettes. I can't do it. That's a deal breaker for me.
I can definitely understand that. I was on a podcast last week, and they were talking about snoring.
Ooh, and that's a good one.
I never thought about it until they said it, and I'm like, oh, I couldn't marry someone that snores.
No, thank you.
I'm a light sleeper, and we're gonna be fighting every night because it's too much. But it's funny that you said the obvious. A lot of people will work through cheating, and that's one of those commonality mess ups.
That is true. Everybody has their own definition and own levels of what they would go with,
right?
What they won't go with.
Okay. And then question number 4: do you believe in if it's real, it'll come back again? And if that was the case, so would you wait?
I do.
would you wait for somebody?
I wouldn't say I would wait, but I believe in it.
Okay.
I believe in it.
You let it go and it comes back. That's how they say you know. That's how you know. That's what they say anyway.
That's what they say.
All right. So tonight's conversation, for those of you that are just tuning in and y'all checking out what we got going on, episode 82, and I titled it Think Like a Lady. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about all of that. So out the gate, let's get right into it. When I think about being ladylike, I can remember growing up, and my mom, she really wanted me to be a girly girl. She would dress me in the little dresses and skirts with the little frilly socks, and she would do my hair. I did not like it. I didn't like the pantyhose. I didn't like the socks and the skirts and the dresses. Kind of like you were saying, I had a lot of boy cousins and brothers. I was rough. So that kind of thing, I wasn't trying to.
Right.
My mom had to continue to tell me, "What's your legs?
Right.
Sit like this. Why your hair look like that? Right. Why this? Why that?" And I just didn't get it. Why couldn't I be comfortable? And then as I got older, I think maybe it just kind of like became because my mom pushed it so much, and the influence. We just kind of got on with it, and was like, all right, and I kind of morphed into a girly girl. So for you, what is your earliest like remembrance of such thing as like being ladylike?
My earliest remembrance was most definitely my mom. She was first and foremost. A lot of stuff starts at home.
Right.
She is the epitome of ladylike with the way she conducts herself, how she does teach, her mannerisms. So I would say immediately in my immediate family, it was definitely my mom.
Okay.
Who was a huge influence. But outside of that, there was a Miss White who was an etiquette coach. I was fortunate enough to come across, and then famous wise, I would have to say women like Maya Angelou, Diane Carroll,
classy, sassy.
Yeah. So now Lathan, like,
yes, ma'am.
The vibes, the ladylike vibes overflow. So, but those are my mom. Yeah, definitely. She's number one.
So let me just take it even a step further. Then, what does it even mean to be a lady? Like, people kind of come up with their own definitions of what ladylike is.
They do.
And it looks like whatever is true, or it looks like what they feel is appropriate.
Right.
It might be rooted in religion. But like for you, when you think of being a lady, I say act like a lady. What does that even mean?
Well, acting like a lady, me personally, I'm like a really factual person.
Okay.
So before I call myself something, I'm going to research it. I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to gather what I feel like it should be. You could say I'm more studious with how I add things to myself, how I grow. But because to me, like you said, everybody has their own definition of what ladylike is. Everybody. And that comes with people that you know, influences that you've seen and come across. So for me, I had an idea of what I thought ladylike was to me, and then was looking up the definition of it, and then from there, really paying attention to how I acted to become a lady was how I came up with my definition.
Okay.
So first and foremost, the Webster Dictionary. Okay. That was my first go-to.
Come on and learn us something.
It says a lady is, simply put, a woman. Another definition of a lady is a woman superior in class, like maybe born into a rich family, for example. And then the third definition of a lady in the Webster Dictionary was a girl or a woman that behaves in a polite way.
Okay.
Which led me to go into, okay, so what's polite?
Right.
And so from there, looking at different things, different characteristics, I'm like, okay, I got my definition of ladylike. I know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to add to myself to portray that on the outward. So I started with a definition.
Perfect. I love it. And being studious is what a lot of people need to be more of.
Yeah.
Following trends or thinking, picking up everything of how you are and who you become based off of what everybody else is doing. Seems to be the way of the world these days. So I'm going to encourage everyone, before you start to call yourself something or follow behind influence, figure out what it exactly is that you're supposed to be doing and what that means.
Right. And I'll say this too. We hear the term feminine energy so much. And I love it. But feminine energy, being ladylike, ladyism is operating at your highest level of that feminine energy that everybody speaks about.
Right.
So you are ladylike. If you believe in, studying and honing in and really becoming more feminine and using that energy in your everyday life, that is being ladylike. I wanted to make sure I say that.
Okay. So walk in it.
Walk in it.
Walk in it. Okay, so speak to us a little bit about, you said you were kind of tomboyish in middle school. When did you kind of begin to walk in being more, and let me not even put words, because that's not what you said. What you said was you used to be a little tomboyish. So for you posted something that stood out to me that said, being ladylike is not a style. So you can dress comfortably and still be ladylike.
Oh, yes.
So when did you start to kind of move into being ladylike?
I would say in high school.
Okay.
In high school, with really wanting to become more of a lady, more of a woman. I would say high school. Okay. I became more ladylike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I put a poll out on Instagram prior to us doing the show, and we're gonna talk a little bit about it. I asked people what ladylike was, just like I asked you, and I got a lot of wearing dresses and heels, keeping your hair done, keeping your nails done, and I'm like, look, okay. But it was like a very common answer. I think maybe 2 or 3 people talk more about etiquette or the way you present yourself, but a lot of it was appearance.
Yeah. But we focus on, just like a lot of things, we like a lot of instant gratification. We want what's obvious. To people in their minds, ladylike is what's obvious.
Right.
It's what I see that makes you ladylike, which is a part of it, but it's not everything.
Right.
Being ladylike is making sure that you are conducting yourself in a mannerable way. We talked about that feminine energy, conducting yourself inward,
right.
Conducting yourself in a certain kind of manner, being polite, using etiquette, using your manners, using your feminine energy to make life easy for you. But I mean, part of it, politeness, what we don't, the inward, we want to focus on, because everybody says she has to look a certain, lady's gotta look a certain way, which is part of it, but it's not everything. And even that is variable, because exactly what is a lady supposed to look like now versus in 1800?
True.
So I try to make sure I emphasize characteristics and not visual, because that's all people talk about when you hear ladylike. Ladylike. First thing that comes to mind is dressed down to your ankles.
Right.
Come on, it's what's in you. It's a mindset, and I always make sure I emphasize that.
Because I think back to, I'm a big fan of Bridgerton. I could not have been a lady in that time. It was too much. I don't like a lot of things on me. So that wasn't going to work anyway.
But I get the same thing when I do my classes and I do my icebreakers and I have the class, what is a lady to you? They're really good with explaining what they think a lady looks like. Yeah. So my classes and when I do speak, it's always about the characteristic of a lady, how a lady thinks, how she speaks, how she acts. Then we get on the look.
Okay. So we're going to stay right there and kind of move into I love that lead in that you just gave us. So when I was in college, I remember a professor of mine, we had like forum every Tuesday where we had to get dressed up, business like, and you know, they taught you how to do interviews and all those things. And I wore a badass pantsuit. When I say bad, I'm talking about Olivia Pope bad.
Okay.
You can tell me. This lady told me that was not ladylike. Ladies don't wear pants. And of course, she was an older lady. But
it had to be.
So let's talk a little bit about generationally.
Generationally. And being a lady is making sure you conduct yourself in a polite way, a considerate way of the times that you're in. Everything evolves, everything changes. What a man is supposed to be has changed. And
talk about it.
It's a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So we have our older generations who do have their rules, their instructions that they went by to make sure that they were ladylike, but like everything, it has changed. And even what's socially acceptable now as a lady was not socially acceptable then. So she was really just speaking to you from her upbringing as a lady, not necessarily the current times. That is a huge factor when we talk about being a lady, acting like a lady. Time. And it's a good thing. I think that we should always keep certain instructions, certain traditions. But you wearing pants is socially acceptable as a lady in 2022. Just not to her, because of the instructions she was brought up with.
And it definitely hurt me. Yeah. I feel like I did a really good job. At getting
you did, man. You did.
I did good. So with that though too, kind of talking about generation, and like you said, what is deemed appropriate and not. Let's talk a little bit about stereotypes and double standards. When we look at what's deemed appropriate for women versus men, and you spoke to saying, you know, ladylike being the way that you think and the way that you conduct yourself. I'm going to ask y'all to participate in this and drop it in the comments.
We want to hear from y'all.
If you feel like it's fact or if it's something that you agree with or disagree with. When it comes to hanging out, being in the club and drinking and partying, do you feel like that's unladylike?
I feel like that is variable. The first thing that comes to mind when you ask me that question is everything in moderation, baby. So I would not necessarily say that going to a bar or hanging out at night is not ladylike. I wouldn't say that. In today's time, that's absolutely socially acceptable. That is okay. That is the norm. Now, what would not be ladylike, I can speak on, which would be being there every week, every other day, you know, to where it affects your day-to-day life as a woman of the household.
So, ladies, y'all in the club, y'all drinking, y'all sipping.
We are.
That's how you doing it, right? It's how you doing it for sure.
That's right.
Because men. And I'm gonna do this with the men versus women thing because that's what we're talking about, double standards.
Right.
They do exist though. People try to act like that's not a thing, but it is.
It is.
Some of them I can kind of agree with, and it might be the way that I was raised, but I don't think that that's good.
Which one?
That ladies aren't supposed to hang out and drink and have a good time. Like the turn up, oh, we got too many city girls. I hear that so much now because you want to go out with your girls and dance a little bit, drink a little bit, be cute and, you know, saucy. And now it's y'all doing too much because I'm hanging out.
Right.
You don't know anything about my personal life, but just because of appearance and I'm hanging out, that's deemed something inappropriate as a woman.
Not ladylike.
Not ladylike.
Yeah. I would say that I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I would say the only thing that would make it unladylike is doing it way too often, and it affects who you are, your daily life.
Right.
Yeah, that's not ladylike.
I can definitely agree with that. I can agree with that. I ain't in the club all the time, but I go.
Yes, ma'am.
You know,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
turn. Okay. Do a little something sometimes. All right. So then, next on the docket with these stereotypes and double standards, women that are sexually liberated, whereas the conversation of what deems somebody a hoe versus I'm not, I'm just sexually liberated, but men can bounce from pillar to post and it's cool. But if women have multiple partners or whatever we want to call it, it's deemed as inappropriate. Do you feel like that is a double standard that stands firm and true?
It is a double standard, but I don't believe with how things are right now that any of that is going good for any of us. Anybody. Women or men, being, carrying yourself the way you want to, being sexually free, mentally, spiritually, and also physically. Signs of you being sexually free are not good. They're just not. I mean, people go through phases, people go through things. But for that to be the social norm for women and for men, but it is a double standard.
Right.
When women do it versus when men do it is looked at completely different, which is not fair.
Right.
Not fair.
When I think about it, and I was having this conversation with a lot of people. And I've said this to y'all before, but I'm trying to word it in a way that doesn't seem crazy. So with being, I'm not even going to call them the H word because I just don't like it. Okay. Sexually liberated people.
Yeah.
It's a way that you do things. So for someone to be like, oh, they're not a lady because they have, why do they know that about you? I think that is what then
that's
it
a big one. Why should people even
you're
know?
You're not being ladylike.
That's a big.
Oh
yeah.
If you out here,
is huge.
Right?
When it comes to portraying yourself as a lady, portraying yourself as ladylike and highly feminine. Discretion is number one at a lot of the times.
Right.
And why should people know that? People should not know that.
People should not know what you got going on. And people are like, oh, Nate, you being sneaky, or that's a sneaky person's understanding. I'm just very private anyway. And I feel like my mom taught me to be private. That's your business. That is a part of what she calls being ladylike. Like, everybody don't gotta know your every move and what you got going on and who you got it going on with.
There is, right. I because you just said that, I want to say something. We have instructions. Everything comes with instructions. Everything. As a child, when you get a new toy put under that Christmas tree, it's not just the toy. It comes with instructions. As an adult, when you take on a new position, a new job, you're a new hire, it's going to come with instructions so that you can do your job properly. We as women, when you are born and you're coming up as a lady, you have instructions. That's what it is to be ladylike, having etiquette, having your manners. And people sometimes seem to forget that.
Right.
But having etiquette, being more ladylike, having those manners, literally gets you through life easier.
Right.
Those are your instructions on how to navigate through all types of situations.
Right.
To situations easier.
Right. I see some of you guys are tuned in on Facebook. I just dropped the link in my Facebook. YouTube for me if you would. We'd love to see you over on the other side.
It's how you do it. That's right. Moderation. Hey, Faith.
So that was another one. Was deemed as, being sexually liberated or not.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful with who you let in your business. That's how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about presentation, the way that you speak, the way that your energy and presence is when you enter a room. Now, I can definitely agree that a lot of that kind of feeds into being ladylike.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely, you can look around a room and read a room and be like,
who's not?
Right.
Yes,
So
you
speak
can.
a little bit about that presence.
Now that's my favorite. That's what I really like to get into because like we said earlier, everybody has their own definition of ladylike, and it's good to know specifics, types of characteristics that a lady embodies. So first and foremost, she's polite, and polite being not a stuck up, not a pushover, not extra friendly either, but she's polite in everything. Meaning she knows how to use her tone to emphasize what's important, what's funny, what's casual. She's able to use her tone to attract the type of attention that she wants. She knows how to use her pitch. She knows words to use. She knows that if she uses her manners, it's proven that she may get what she wants.
Right.
But being polite in how you speak, your tone, different types of smiles too. She knows, different types of smiles to use in different scenarios. That's first and foremost. She's polite. But she's also really gracious in the way that she moves. She moves in a graceful, non-threatening way. Mm-hmm. And when any person, not just a woman, but we're speaking on women, when a lady moves in a graceful, non-threatening way, she automatically makes the people around her feel comfortable. That is another tactic that ladies are taught to learn who they're around, make people more comfortable, and leave a good, meaningful, lasting impression with the people that they come in contact with. So polite, gracious in the way that she moves. She's trustworthy, and more specifically, trustworthy with other women. If other women can trust you, everybody can trust you.
That's a good
because
one.
We know how men interact. They can start saying "hey" for 7 days and they'll be best friends in passing.
Right.
But women are different. We need proof. We sit back. We observe. We latch here, then don't latch there.
Right.
So a woman who's trustworthy with other women, that's a lady. That's a lady. That's a good characteristic of a lady. But those are a few to name.
And very good ones, for sure. I know growing up, that was a big one for my mom. I was very loud. I'm still kind of loud.
Our family is.
Right? But it's not in an obnoxious way. I do know how to read the room. I do know how to insert myself into different situations.
There's a time and place for everything.
Right. But there are some people who, like, that's just them. And don't take this as bashing. We're literally just having general conversation because I have a lot of people in my life that may not be so ladylike, and I love them to pieces. They're amazing people. Yeah. Not to say that you have to change who you are, because sometimes it's just not you. It's not in you, and it's not something that you're going to pick up, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like for me, it used to really bother me. I don't like to wear heels. I will wear them, but I know growing up, I was just like, let's put on some cute sandals.
That's right.
Because I didn't know how to walk in them. Yeah. I still don't really know how to walk in them. But, if I just a little trot to the table, I can do that. Or give me a wig or a platform, I'm rock the hell out of that. But, the palms, the stilettos, it used to bother me that I couldn't get it. Yeah. But that does not matter. It does not
make you more of a lady.
Right. Because again, your appearance and what you're wearing, that's not what being a lady is. It is a part of it.
It's a part of it.
And I'm going to keep saying that because I feel like that is a misconception.
Huge.
Hey y'all. misconception, and I want y'all to get out of the habit because it's not correct.
It's not correct. The lady is not what she looks like. That's not it. This is not all that the lady is.
Okay. So let's move into a little bit of, because you said you teach etiquette, and it's something that is a part of you. You know, you exude it. First of all, let me tell y'all something. I hit her up, told her we doing the show. Y'all know me. I'm coming on here with my bun and my t-shirt.
You're Nay.
Being Nay, right. And I go to let her in, dressed to the T, honey. Okay? But every time I see her, this is what it is. Even if it's something simple, she's going to do it top tier. So when it comes to your fashion sense, like, where did that come from? Like, how did you move into this space of what to wear, how to put it together? I know you help people put things together. Like, where did that come from?
My fashion sense definitely came from my dad, my mom, how she used to dress in her corporate dresses. Shout out to my mom. Her corporate wear always inspired me. I love seeing her put on her dresses and heels and go to court. So she was always number one, like anything else. But my fashion sense, it was really just me, my individuality, me getting into making dresses and teaching sewing classes came from my grandma.
Okay.
That's a woman, she sold every single dress in her wedding on her wedding day. She made every single dress. I never forgot that. So when I did get of age, 18, 19, couldn't really find what I wanted in the store, I said, you know what? My grandma makes dresses. I can do that. So that's how I got into being a seamstress and making dresses. My fashion.
Cool. So let's kind of move right into that. So with your etiquette classes, is that more like age specific, or anybody can come and get etiquette classes?
Anybody, everybody can benefit from etiquette. It doesn't matter if you're 5, 6 years old or if you're 80. There's always a way to improve that feminine energy that you want to make sure you're walking in. So it's definitely not age specific. I've taught all ages, but I do use age specific topics.
Okay.
When I'm speaking to a group, I want to speak to a group that has a 5-year-old and a 20-year-old.
Right.
I keep it, in a group age range so I can give them topics for their age. But everybody can use etiquette.
So when we're looking at etiquette, are we looking at the way that we're speaking? When we go to dinner, what utensils we use? Like, when you're mapping out this etiquette class, like, what are some of the things that you're teaching people?
Well, there's physical etiquette that deals with posture, greetings, dealing with normal everyday conversation, critiquing how you carry yourself every day. So posture, I would say that there's phone and internet etiquette. There's table etiquette. There is relationship etiquette, especially when it comes to the professional setting. Even privately, there's etiquette. There are rules. There are manners that you should be using every day in the different types of relationships that you have. So there's etiquette for everything.
I'm glad you said that. Let's move into another poll and I almost forgot about this until you just said that.
Okay.
I put another poll out on social media to ask the menfolk, and I'm definitely wanting y'all to tap in again, because some of the answers I got were ridiculous. But I asked them, of our generation, I'm talking mid-20s up to like 40s. Do they think that ladyism is a thing? If not, what happened to it? And how they feel about chivalrous men. 3 parts, right?
Your face.
Because sometimes I feel like men just be saying stuff to get reactions out of women sometimes. So here's what I got from that, the gist of it, because a lot of the answers were the same. That the independent woman killed chivalry. That was the first part. That women wanting to be equal to men killed ladies.
Interesting.
That,
Okay.
Women being independent, they feel like, oh, I don't need him to open my door and pull out my chair.
Mhm.
I don't need him to pay for the meal or initiate taking me out. Like all of these things. Oh, we can't let y'all be women because y'all don't want to be women. That's what I was getting from it. And same with like, oh, the feminist movement is making it hard for men to see women as women. And I thought that was a very interesting yet ignorant way to look at the dynamic of the independent woman and what is deemed as feminism.
Right.
Because again, back to those definitions, feminist is really just anybody that's for women. There are some extreme feminists for sure, but just being, for women, I don't think that killed men's opportunity to be chivalrous or, or the independent woman. A lot of independent women are independent because they don't have the men to be the men.
Yes. Okay.
So let's talk about it.
Yes. Okay. The first part to that was men said that independent women kill chivalry in men. Now look at who you're asking and how they work and what appeases them and what they submit to, because men submit.
Right.
So with them coming out the mouth saying independent women kill chivalry, while that sounds crazy, there's a little bit of truth to it because of it ain't what we think.
Right.
It's what they're thinking. They think differently. Men and women, we think a little differently. And we operate a little differently. We respond to stuff differently. We be needing this and they need that.
Right.
So with that being said, with asking that question and getting the response that you got, which does sound crazy, independent women kill chivalry. But there's a bit of truth to that because men operate, they feed on, they respond to feeling needed. They want to feel needed. You make a man feel needed. You make a man feel like, I do want you to do this for me. I do need this from you. I appreciate you. He's going to do everything in the world for you if he loves you. And so I know it sounds crazy with how is it that I'm independent. I have my own. I've got this going on. On the outside, it just looks like I don't need you. And men saying that kills them wanting to be chivalrous. That's the little bit of truth to that. But it's still, like you said, sounds outlandish because because you see that I am independent or I'm even acting in an independent space does not mean I don't want you or can't depend on you or don't need you. But men, especially shallow ones, use that as an excuse. Right. Oh no, I'm not. Oh no, I don't do that kind of stuff. Because they are in their mind feel like women are independent, meaning AKA I feel like they don't really need me. She don't really need me. That hurts my feelings.
Right. And I can definitely see that. I guess for me it kind of threw me off because
it does.
I see the other side of that. So prime example, growing up in my household, my mom was, she was a single mom. My dad was not in the household. My dad was in my life. He wasn't in my household. But my understanding of the male influence was very present because all of my uncles stood in the pain and they helped raise the village. Uncles. Hey, y'all. Love all my black kids. So my mom, though, was still very independent because although they were in that role of the male influence for me, that wasn't the romantic involvement. So she still, was strong and did what she needed to do and all those things. Right. But where I don't understand is because I did have that male influence. When any of my uncles came in the house and the trash was full, they was going to take it out.
Automatic.
I pull up to the house, day? Is your car good? You got
Right.
that? Let me look, let me check. So when I think about being independent, because I am,
Mhm.
I also understand that men who are men are still, they're going to show you
Oh
that
yes,
you need them.
yes they are. If they
So,
were raised that way, they are.
Right.
But it's a different. You get different people get different sides of you.
Mhm.
So, like you said, your uncles they came in, walked in that house, and took that trash out. Had your mom been talking to a man romantically that is just walking in there for the first time, it changes when there's an attraction.
Right.
That chivalry
sure.
sometimes goes like, well, where did it go? They think differently when it comes to the women in their life. I noticed that.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to women that they're dating. When, in fact, if you a chivalrous dude, just be a chivalrous dude.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
I just shout out to all the men that they're really just intimidated. I feel
Some of them
a
are.
lot
You're
of them
right.
are.
You're right. You are right about
Facts.
that.
Shout out to Deja. Yes, I agree with that comment, ma'am. Shout out to the men that still hold doors and pull out chairs.
Oh yes,
and take
we love y'all.
charge and control.
Mhm.
Because the next piece I want to kind of tap into is understanding when it's appropriate to lead and then when it's appropriate to be submissive. Because I feel like another common misconception is, oh, being ladylike, you should just be submitting to every, like when you with a man, you're supposed to just let him lead and follow the lead.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna let no fool lead me nowhere.
Not a fool. We're not letting no fool lead us.
No. So let's talk a little bit about just your understanding of what it means to be submissive, how it looks for you when you are in a relationship. I don't know if you are or not, but when you are allowing your man to lead and being submissive to him, and then when you feel, how do you move into when it's appropriate for you to lead? Because something you said earlier, men do submit too, and they do when they understand that that's how that works.
Yeah. Give it to you. No, but I think submission is a subject that's just got so many bad connotations, but it's so powerful and such a great tool for women and men to get along with the people who are they're with every day, people that they're around. Me specifically, when it comes to when to be submissive, I don't think there's necessarily a time. I mean, I guess it just depends, because every day, all day, I feel like I should be submitting. You should be submitting as well, so that we are getting along with each other. You telling me what you need? Okay, I'm submitting. Like, you got a need. I'm with you. I care for you, whether it's family or my man. I'm with you. You're expressing a need. Okay, let me submit to that. I don't mind. I think submission is displayed all day, every day, between both parties. When to lead, I'd say, I definitely jump up when it comes to leading on things that I know I'm the expert in.
Okay.
I know I'm good at this, so let me help you with this. Hey, you should probably do this. And then there's also a way to lead too. Right. There's a way you do things. We talked already about a tone, using your tone to express the importance and what it is that you're trying to get across. But when to lead is a good one, because people want to lead all day, every day, which causes friction and which makes people feel like you're not considerate of me, my opinion, how I feel. I don't think I'm coming to hang out with you tomorrow. Right. I'm not going to be here for another week. So a part of being ladylike is knowing when to submit, which is primarily all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. You give it to get it.
Right.
And then knowing when to lead. We're going to lead in a certain way when we know we're expert at it, when we know we can be a benefit.
And I feel exactly the same with that. Submission gets a bad rep because a lot of people feel like they confuse submission with control. Oh, he's trying to control me and I'm not going to. And it's like, that's not what that means. it's harmony within your relationships. And like you said, across the board, you submit at work, you submit in your family, you even submit to your children sometimes.
Yes,
and having that understanding of the balance, and everybody can't be in charge
all the time. That don't work.
You have that, oh, I'm the man of the house, so okay, cool. Right. But you have a partner in your house.
Right.
And I feel like the idea of that is kind of lost with our generation as a whole. You have men who feel like I have this type of job, gender roles. Misconstrued.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of plays into how I'm going to submit or lead, and it's like, but all of that is wrong. How do you feel about gender roles?
Gender roles. I believe in gender roles. Maybe not when we say gender roles, the obvious negative ones you think of when people say that. But I believe in gender roles. I don't think there's anything wrong with me doing this because I'm more of a lady at it, and you doing that because you're more of a man for it.
Right.
I don't believe there's anything wrong with that. Call me traditional.
Right.
But I agree. I don't mind gender roles. Now, little things like washing the dishes and cleaning, that may or may not be gender specific.
Right.
Because how is your household ran? What have you guys decided on?
Right.
Now that I wouldn't say is necessarily gender specific. That goes into 2022.
Right.
Everybody that's working, everybody that's dirtying up, everybody cleaning.
Hello. I remember I got into a big argument with this guy that I was talking to, and he had said something about he's very traditional. He worked and he do this and that. So when he come home, his mom need to have, the food cooked. Now I don't mind catering.
Is she working? Does she work?
Right, because I work. But he's talking about me. So yes, she works. Oh. I don't mind cooking and cleaning.
No,
I have to do it for myself forever.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have a problem with that. But when it becomes like an obligation or the expectation, maybe sometimes when I come home I'm tired and I cooked all week, why you can't cook us a meal?
Yeah. Pick it up for me.
And he got upset because
I said, he's not a submissive guy.
Right.
He's not a submissive man. He wants submission, but don't want to give it. If you work, both of y'all work, he wants you to clean and cook all the time.
Right.
And there's a day where you can't clean and cook, and you ask him to, and he said, no, that's not a submissive man. That's not a partner.
Right.
No.
Man got up in arms because I said that sometimes I would like my husband to cook.
Sometimes.
And I said,
if he can cook now. If you can't cook, I got it.
That's different. Right, that's different. But just say you not because you the man of the house, that's stupid to me.
Yeah.
But got mad because I said, I'm not on the line.
Oh, here we go into these gender roles.
Because for me, that is a gender role that that's just not what,
Okay.
And I feel like that was just something that on me.
Yeah. Now,
I never mowed the lawn.
That's a double standard with him wanting a woman to always cook, and you saying you will never mow a lawn.
Because I say that because the cooking thing is debatable. But there's other things within the household that I feel my man will never have to do because that's my job as the woman of the house.
I love it. That's a good
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to mow the lawn or fix the cars. But when it comes to the washing the clothes and folding, that's probably something that he will never have to do.
I love
You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
So it's like compromise, communication, being understanding. But I feel like cooking is just so like when my kids get of age, they gonna get in there and start cooking. Right. We all cooking in this house.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. That might have been a little devastating.
No,
you was upset with me, honey. Like that right there. It was funny. So you feel as if each person should be a leader based on level of maturity and knowledge the person holds in certain situations.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
Most people are too traditional. Like, why I gotta be one who cleans and cooks all the time because I'm a woman. You feel me?
Right.
But yeah, that definitely speaks to, I guess, there are some, but I said that there are some stuff, double standards that I do agree with. And that's one of them.
And that's what finding your person. That's what finding your equal, that mutual respect.
Right. And understanding what that looks like.
Understanding what that looks like.
That is wonderful. That's wonderful. What was the last one? Last one. That's my notes. We talked about the sneaky versus private.
Mm-hmm.
We I love it. Look at this great conversation.
Right. Well, to the actual, I want to speak on the actual topic of tonight, thinking like a lady.
Okay.
So we talked about,
if I read this, will you?
No, I won't. Go ahead.
Now, if I don't have to work, I'm okay with doing all the cleaning, cooking. If we gonna do it, we gotta do it fully. He was tripping.
That's right. That's what I said. Is she working?
Yes, I'm here for it. No, I don't mind doing things. But if we both working, and we both bringing in currency,
right?
Oh, let's divvy this thing up a little bit, okay? Because I already know when the kids come, you're gonna be expecting me to. But that's a whole other conversation for another day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thinking like a lady.
Yeah. So I love the fact that we talked about, ladyism, being ladylike, what that looks like, different types of characteristics of a lady. But when it comes to thinking like a lady, because it's a mindset, everything starts in the mind. Mm-hmm. You get an angry thought, you're going to act on that angry thought. Mm-hmm. So with thinking like a lady, there's work to do. There's studying that you need to do. Mm-hmm. You need to figure out your definition of what a lady is, how you're going to use certain characteristics to become that. And eventually, yes, you think like a lady, but thinking like a lady is actually one of the second to the last step, because before thinking like a lady, you've got to add to yourself quite a bit of knowledge on how you are going to speak, how you are going to conduct yourself. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to thinking like a lady, you want examples. So you want a mentor. If you can, get yourself a mentor, because that's really your cheat sheet, real life cheat sheet. But thinking like a lady comes with homework. Mm-hmm. Nobody's perfect. And there's always ways for you to study and add to yourself. And when you do study and add those characteristics to yourself, you gotta start implementing them in your daily life. Start with the people in your household. Start speaking different. Start carrying yourself differently. Start at home. And then you go from there with your outside influences and how you carry yourself outside. But everybody needs, like I said, everything comes with instructions, right? Everything. And you as a lady, you have instructions. Use your etiquette, use your manners to make life easy for you.
Yes, dropping gems.
Yes, ma'am.
Dropping gems.
Yes, ma'am.
So go ahead and let the people know. So we talked a little bit about your etiquette classes, but then you also are a seamstress. You make dresses, and she has made a couple dresses for me, altered a couple of things for me. Yeah. Like, I can definitely speak to her work. So how can people get in touch with you? Like, kind of go ahead and promote yourself, let them know what it is that you do, what you're about, all of that.
So Miss K the coach is just that. When it comes to fashion, I can coach you with your tailored look that you want to go for. I can make looks for you. When it comes to coaching, I teach sewing. That's another love of mine. I love teaching kids and adults how to make their own clothing. And when it comes to etiquette, that's something else that I teach too, on a private level, also in group settings. So you name it. I'm Miss K for a reason. Those three things that I'm strong in and have perfected, I love to coach. So yeah, you can find me on Facebook. I will drop the spelling of my name because my name's Lakeisha. It is spelled different. But you can find me on my personal Facebook page by the name of Lakeisha, Miss K the Coach. On Instagram is who_Miss K. And Miss K is always MSK. But I'm Miss K the Coach. That's me.
Yes, who is Miss K? I was looking at that as I was posting on my stuff today, and I was just like, who is Miss K? We definitely gonna get into it because a woman of many hats, many hats.
Shout out to my mom and dad for that. They do many things.
We were talking about that behind the scenes before we went live, just like having that multiple streams of income and growing yourself and understanding, you know, that there's other ways to do and reach people and all that good stuff.
And do what you love.
Do what you love. Amazing. So so we will definitely get the spelling of her name dropped in the comments for you guys. Yeah. We touched on a lot. I didn't think we was gonna get through all
some good stuff.
I did want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
When it comes to being able to think like a lady, act like a, you know, that little saying, you know, and no shade to Steve Harvey, but when the book Think Like a Lady or Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man came out, I was a little bit confused on how we thought this man was going to tell us how to act like a lady. That's number one.
Right.
But the stuff that was in there to think like a man, and my whole thing is I always tell people, think and act like a lady, like a boss. And I think that's kind of where he was trying to go with that.
Oh, gotcha.
But it wasn't.
I read that book. And when looking at the title, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, there was not necessarily anything in there that really detailed acting like a lady. He's a man, a male author. Right. There was a whole lot of, this is how I think, this is how men think, this is what we want, this is how we operate, which was kind of useful, but it really wasn't what I expected either. It wasn't. No.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna act like ladies, and we're gonna think like ladies, and we're gonna maneuver like that.
Yes. You could be a boss and independent and all of these things, a great mother, great partner, and still be ladylike. Like acting and thinking like a lady does not take away from your ability to provide and be a breadwinner. Like,
when you think about being ladylike, there are characteristics like polite, trustworthy, gracious. None of those characteristics alter who you are right now today. None of them. They all enhance who you are. So being ladylike is nothing at all similar to dumbing you down, making you submissive. Nothing at all. You have a set of characteristics that will literally enhance the person that you are. Period.
I love that. Summing up, wrapping up, all of that. Yes. Okay. So there you have it. I want you guys, one takeaway I want you guys to take away from this is being a strong, independent woman does not have to be masculine. I think that's a common misconception too. You could still be a lady and be a strong, independent lady. You could still exude that feminine energy as Ms. K was talking about,
like you said,
and still be a boss. Because that feminine energy, believe it or not, is going to get you in a lot of rooms and talking to the right people that you probably wouldn't even realize, but it's all in the way you conduct yourself.
Yes. You said that. Yes.
So think like a lady, act like a lady. We all. Proverb 31 chapter is God's definition of a woman.
That's a good example. Those are good instructions.
Hello.
Love it.
So that's that. Any last words? Anything you want to, before we wrap up and get out of here?
Don't let being ladylike dumb you down, make you feel any type of negative way, because being ladylike is the most magical way that you can carry yourself in this lifetime. make sure you are operating in your highest level of feminine energy. That's literally going to internally improve your life and the people around you with how you conduct yourself.
Yes. I love it. I love it. So there it is. I needed this today. I'm glad you was able to get this good word. Another conversation on Ask Told by Nay, the podcast. Thank you again to Miss K for coming through and having this conversation with me. Y'all know what it is. Right back here, same time next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's talk about it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.